Welcome to the Carrie Croft Show. I'm your host, Carrie Croft. The first 15 years of my career were spent in the IT space climbing the corporate ladder, but I traded in the pearls and pencil skirts for leggings and big fitness dreams when I left my six-figure director role to start a fitness business. And here's the kicker. I did all of that while quietly battling infertility, enduring heartbreaking child loss, and navigating the relationship struggles that came with it. But those battles, they didn't break me. They built me. And now I'm back again blazing yet another trail to help you tap into your inner badass. I'm lifting the hood on my entire journey, sharing the wins, the face plants, and the hard-earned lessons along the way. Everything I've gained from corporate America, entrepreneurship, loss, and beyond is being broken down into bite-sized, no BS insights so you can leapfrog ahead and do the damn thing for yourself. So if you're ready to start taking action and become the goal-getter you were born to be, then you're in the right place. Let's go, baby. Happy New Year. It's 2025. Can you believe it? She's upon us, just like that. And guess what? I'm back again in this seat in a brave before good situation. I don't know if you ever listened to the Reagan Walsh podcast I did maybe a year and a half ago now, but she says, you have to be brave before you're good. And I feel like I've gotten not good, but pretty proficient with bringing somebody into the studio and sitting down with them and peeling back the layers and kind of letting them talk. And then I share space and sort of dip in and out. And that's great. And I don't plan on stopping that. I love doing it. It has been such a joy for me the last 2 years. So that's not going to end. But there has been a calling for me inside to do more Solocasts and to have more direct conversations with people who are resonating with what I'm putting out. And it's funny because I feel like a beginner again, and I'm sitting here with a camera and it's just me. And so it's a whole different game. What you have to do is you have to just start, and you start doing the reps, and then pretty soon, a year from now, 2 years from now, it'll be old hat for me. So again, welcome to 2025. If you're a new listener, welcome. If you're an OG listener, thank you so much for just choosing to press play and listening and being interested and supporting what I'm doing. It really means a lot to me. And it's not lost on me that there's like a gazillion podcasts out there and that you still choose to tune in. I want to start out by reflecting a little bit on 2024 for me personally, because it was loaded. 2024 was loaded with a lot of stuff. There were a lot of great things in 2024. My family's doing great. My kids are thriving. Husband's awesome. I'm so grateful for so many things. And I have continued to prioritize family. And sometimes that gets a little challenging when you have this weird entrepreneur brain that sort of goes all the time. And you're like, oh, wait, I got to stop. And I have something more important than this. And you pull yourself back. And so I've been really trying to think about what's important to me, the priorities. Daner, he's 6. He's a great big brother to Kyle. Kyle, who we had via surrogate. She is about 16 months now. So family is fantastic. Professionally for me, 2024 was a very difficult year, I would say, but it was also the most freeing year for me, very liberating and very necessary. And as I look back, where I wanted to go with my purpose in my career has been sort of stirring within me for longer than just 2024. A lot of you do know this, but I think some people still don't know, but I am no longer affiliated with SOS. And that decision was one of the hardest decisions I've made professionally. But again, it was the right move for me and I think for everybody involved. And while we're on that topic of SOS, just quickly, I want to say I did leave quietly. The one regret that I have about the way that I left is that there wasn't anything specific that was sent out to say, hey, this is the change that was being made. So I've run into a lot of people who don't know that that's happened. And so it feels a little bit weird. And like, I wish I would have done that differently. So this is my way of saying I am no longer affiliated with SOS. I'm so proud of all of it. When you build a business, it's never easy. It's never perfect. It's going to be messy. It's going to be all those things mixed together. It's not easy to build a business that is not only financially sound, but that cares about the right shit and builds community and fosters those relationships in a very authentic, organic way. You know, I'll be eternally grateful to my experience there. And then to the community too. I can see your faces now as I'm sort of reminiscing and thinking about you walking through the door. Thank you. And I will always be grateful. And I know I've crossed paths with many of you, and I know that I'll cross paths with others again in the future. But until then, just know that you hold a very, very special place in my heart. Needless to say, 2024 was very emotional. It was very uncomfortable. It felt like, what's my new normal? What's happening here? And being the catalyst of change like that, you also sort of internalize and beat yourself up a little bit about things. And so, you know, I did a lot of that in 2024, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of trying to figure out through the noise and the chaos and all the change, you know, what is it now? Like, you know, this doesn't fit anymore. So let's get through that. And then what is it now that you want to move forward and do? And before we go into the move forward and do, I do want to stay here for a minute. Last year for me, there were many lessons and many things that I experienced and learned. The one thing for you that I feel like is just so important for you to take away is the idea of letting go, the idea of shedding, and the idea of letting yourself visualize something different for yourself. You know, it's easier to let go and to shed if you can visualize something more vast or different, or a place where you feel like you want to go. I was reminded during this process last year is we all cling so tightly to what we know. We zoom in on this thing. So whatever it is for you, is it a relationship? Is it your job? Is it an idea about something that, and you're zooming in so close that you can't see anything on the periphery because you're so locked in on that one thing. And it's not until you let yourself zoom out a little bit and just take a look over in the, top left corner, take a look over in the distance and allow yourself to see what else is possible and to envision a different thing for yourself. It's out there. You don't have to stay where you're at just because you're there. If you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling like you just don't fit, or if you're feeling something in your gut, like you want to make a move and do something different, it's not going to hurt just to zoom out for a minute, take a breath, and look around. This world is full of second chances, fresh starts, new things to build, new places to go, new people to meet. You are not stuck. Now, another part of that is it's going to be uncomfortable, and you should prepare for relationships to change, situations to change. You're going to feel like you're sort of in this weird, wild island on your own. Things are going to feel weird, and that's why people don't do it. That's why people don't upset the apple cart. Do you know how many people will sit in an apple cart? They will sit in an apple cart with a bunch of apples, and they'll be sitting there like, that looks more like a Honeycrisp. I'm feeling like I'm a Fuji over here. But I can't. I'm not going to upset the apple cart. So many people will live that way. And I think it's due, first of all, to fear, but also not allowing yourself to visualize something different. So if you learn anything from my 2024, there is such power in looking at a situation, and it doesn't have to be a terrible situation. It could be something that was just fine and you could have coasted along. But to look at something and to be able to say, this isn't going to be me at 110% anymore. And so for everybody involved, I'm going to move on. That is powerful. And if you can take that step for yourself or think about it, I don't know where you're at in the process, but just a little food for thought and something that's obviously top of mind for me. All right, so you let go, you jump off the bridge, And now what? What's the next thing? Which has been a big question for me. Part of me not doing these solo casts and just remaining in the studio, having conversations with cool people, not overanalyzing it, is I made a deal with myself to say, you're not going to do anything major for a year. And this is like beginning of 2024. Just be quiet, do these interviews, work hard, make authentic connections, and trust the process. And if anyone knows me, you know that patience is not one of my virtues or one of my strong virtues. Plowing forward is like my reflex. So for me to make that deal with myself and actually stick to it was a big deal. But to leave something as incredible as SOS and 10 years of doing something that felt so meaningful, I'll be damned if I allow emotion or knee-jerk reaction to get in the way of me realigning and really figuring out like what is that optimal path and where can I move that I'm going to hit on the dials I need to hit on. So if my purpose, my passion, improving the atmosphere, ultimately I want to serve the person who I was, whether that is when I was struggling with infertility, whether that is when I was climbing the corporate ladder or building a multi-million-dollar business pre-COVID or becoming my own surrogate agency. I want to serve the person who I was. That takes a minute. That's not just something you're going to be like, oh, you're going to wake up in the morning and be like, yep, got it. So I knew it was going to take soul searching, but for me, a lot of time and listening and kind of going inward. And I will tell you, doing that for the last year, it has paid off. I feel like the dust is settling. The embers are starting to sort of cool. And I'm starting to see like through the fog. And I'm starting to feel what it is that I want to do next. And not only that, but the things that have continually been coming to me naturally in the last year. So it's funny how the universe works. And I'm a huge believer in that. Like, do I think that the universe is just going to drop shit on your door or that you manifest and it just comes to your door? No. But I think if you put things in place, like if you say to yourself, I am going to get quiet, I'm going to work really hard, I'm going to make connections. And then I think the universe kind of winks at you here and there. People have been organically coming to me with just random questions about things, like starting things. The first thing people want to talk about, and I think this is because my experience with SOS, is how do I build my inner confidence? Can I stop doing? What can I start doing? How do I start building this internal beast, if you will? Okay. That's one thing that it's like the low hanging fruit that I get. And I'm happy to answer. And there's a lot of ideation around that. The second one is externally. Okay. So how did you start this business and how did you sustain success for a decade? And how were you able to create a brand like that? How were you able to create a podcast and have it still be growing and thriving in the midst of all these podcasts and gaining traction? And the third thing that I get all the time, and I'm passionate about all the things, but this one has got a special place in my heart and it makes me want to run my head through the wall because I am so passionate about it. And that's infertility and surrogacy. And luckily for me, people are starting to kind of hear my story. I've been on a couple podcasts. Like there's one in the UK called The Worst Girl Gang Ever, and they were kind enough to let me come on. It's a really big podcast about infertility. And I told my story. And so people have been kind of finding me through that. So one of my big things in 2025 and beyond is to, again, serving the person who I was, the person who is sitting there and they are emotionally wrecked because they're trying to have a family. They don't know where to go to get a surrogate. They don't have the money for a surrogate. They feel like they're on this island where only the Kardashians and Paris Hilton get surrogacy options because they have so much money. A surrogacy agency is a route. It is not the only route. If you have $250,000, $150,000, yes, these are real numbers, to spend on an agency, congratulations. But I'm for the person who's out there that doesn't have that kind of money, but still deserves to have a family. And the only way they can get there is via surrogacy. And if you know my story, you know that after we had Jade lived in the NICU for 16 days. And soon after, I knew if we wanted to have a sibling for Dane, we were going to need to get a surrogate. So I interviewed multiple agencies, analyzed the business model. I basically peeled it all back, figured out what I needed to do, and I did it. So I am in the process right now of creating a workshop that basically walks people through beginning to end how I did that. All the details, everything you need from marketing to the networking to legal, life insurance, escrow, the relationship with the surrogate, you name it. We're right now creating this product where someone who wants to do this or has to do this independently can get this workshop and follow every single step that I took. And then there's also an option that I'm considering taking on, walking with someone through their whole journey. So that is something that you listen to one thing I say in this, please listen to this. Put this in a little folder in your brain, little data collect, Carrie Croft, infertility, surrogacy, like lock it away somewhere. And if you hear of anybody who needs it, please give them my information, because even if it's just a pep talk, even if it's just a little bit of information, giving them some kind of guiding light to help propel them forward on their journey, I am so committed to doing that. You boil it all down, everything I just said, the essence of it is starting something. It's just come down to the fact that I want to take my experience in corporate America, entrepreneurship, loss, infertility, podcast, whatever it is, and I want to help you light the fire inside yourself to do the thing you were born to do. And I find it so fascinating, but also so tragic that there's so many people out there who have such gifts and a unique fingerprint in the world, but they never start because they're afraid. They're afraid of what they think. Fuck they. I could give a fuck right now. I could give a fuck. Actually, expect it. Expect the haters. A hater is not a bad thing. A bad thing is if you're the hater. Let someone else be the hater. You get in the ring and you start. And yes, you're going to suck probably at first. It's going to feel like you have two left feet. You're going to be scared. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be all the things. They'll laugh at me. Yes, all of those things are going to happen. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. What a tragedy that we sit back and we don't start something based off of peer pressure or societal norms or expectations placed on us by somebody else, or because we just want to fit in and we don't want to be talked about. You're going to be talked about no matter what, unless you're diluting yourself down so much. And my God, stop. Just stop doing it. It's an order. Stop doing it. So yeah, I want to help you start something because you deserve it. You deserve to start it. The thing you've been thinking about, the thing you can't stop thinking about, the thing that is like lights you up inside and it gets you out of bed in the morning. Like you deserve to start that thing, and you deserve to live in the highest vibration of your life. But the only person that can make it happen is you. And another piece of advice for you look at my story. Okay. I was able to accomplish these things. It was never clean. There was always a mess, right? Life is complicated. And so your success is going to be built through some of the messes that take place. That's the way that it works. So the universe or life or whomever isn't going to be up in the sky somewhere directing like, hey, listen, Tina's coming through. She's got some dreams. She's got some goals. She wants to clear the path. No, that's not how it works. You do it in spite of the mess. And the mess is what starts to build you through it. It's like survival of the fittest, if you want to look at it that way. The universe designs it that way. They put brick walls up to see who wants it more. And that's the bottom line. So it's like, are you going to be the guy or the girl who walks up to the brick wall and you're like, shit, It's a pretty big fucking brick wall. Or are you going to be the guy or the girl that stands up and says, holy shit, I'm going to figure out how to get resourceful and get over the damn wall. And that's up to you, but I want to help you for whatever crazy reason. That is what I feel called to do. I've said a lot here. A couple of things though before I wrap up. A special huge thank you, shout out. I love you so much to all these local businesses who supported me during that 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. It was such a smashing success. It was so much fun. I can't even tell you the amount of engagement and connections and just holiday cheer that we had. It was so awesome. And it's because of you. The entrepreneur space, the local business space in Columbus, Ohio is absolutely A grade. It's class act. If you don't know, I'm here to tell you about it. It's full of just badass, like-minded, amazing people who get it and want to help each other and lift each other up. So you guys know who you are. I really, really appreciate you so much. And thank you for your generosity during the 12 days of Christmas. I am humbled to be in your presence, and I am so excited to continue to work with all of you in 2025 and beyond. So much more to come on this in 2025. Right now, if you are listening to this or you're like, you know what, I would like to talk to you for 10 minutes or run an idea by you, I have a Calendly set up, and it's been so great. People just put their name and kind of what they want to talk about. If you want to be on the podcast, if you want to talk about starting something, if you have a fertility journey, if you have a friend who has one, whatever, just get 10 minutes on my calendar and let's lock eyes and just see what happens. Right now, to get to my Calendly, just go to my Instagram and then my link tree, and then you'll see it right there, Calendly, schedule a call. You can also subscribe to the community there. I would love to have you subscribe to the community. Lots of great communication and inspiration, tough love, education coming your way in 2025. And again, to everybody who has supported me and whoever's listening and continuing to listen and hit the play button, thank you so much. I want these Solocasts to be interactive. So if you have heard something I said and it resonated with you, or you disagree with me, DM me, email me. Let's argue about it. I'm fine with that. I love a good spirited debate, but I do want to start to get some questions, comments, and feelings from people who are listening and watching, so we can make this more of an interactive, up the cray a little bit, up the crazy. I like it. So you can send me an email, carrie@thecarriecroftshow.com, or you can send me a DM. Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for listening to me fumble through my first Solocast of 2025. And if you're still out there following your girl, follow me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, keep moving, baby.